Thank you. Hello and welcome to BBC London. Coming up tonight. Spotted on the buses by drivers who say some vehicles and staff areas have cockroaches, much to the shock of commuters.
That's really disgusting. I don't know how regularly they get cleaned.
I don't believe it's there. But if it's there, that's something someone should take care of.
Also on the programme, the pharmacist's watchdog says it will take action after a BBC London investigation exposed illegal practices by some medical professionals. Plus, fishing for more than half a century, but a cockle farmer in Essex tells us why he could now lose his business. And don't be alarmed, but find out what all the screaming was about on Primrose Hill. Good evening to you. Great to have you with us. We start tonight with creatures that no one wants to see, let alone on your commute. Cockroaches. Infestations have been spotted on some London buses and even in staff rest areas, according to concerned drivers and campaigners. They say they are a potential health risk and are calling for the pests to be eradicated. Transport for London says all buses are cleaned every night and such reports are rare. You might want to pause if you're eating, because here's Tom Edwards with the story.
A driver finds a cockroach in their can of drink. We have changed the audio as they don't want to be identified.
I went to take a swig of my drink. I felt something in my mouth, so I spat it out. You can see the evidence there. And look, a dead cockroach. It climbed into my drink while I was driving the bus, and this thing went in my mouth.
The incident happened last week in South London. Later in the rest area, they find 3 more cockroaches in their food container.
Just poured the can out into the plastic container, and there's 3 more in my drink, and that's the one that I spat out earlier. So there was 4 in my drink.
This is the footwell of a bus. There are cockroaches that scurry away. Bus drivers have sent us these videos and photos. They say some rest areas and buses are infested. Commuters this morning were appalled.
That's really disgusting. I don't know how regularly they get cleaned, but yeah, no. I try to avoid the buses actually.
I don't believe it's there. But if it's there, that's something someone should take care of. It's not healthy for sure. Yeah.
As a Canadian tourist, I have a nice thinking of the London transport, so I'm a little surprised.
Kenny is a commuter. He saw cockroaches on the number 453 4 days ago.
I was absolutely horrified. I was like in a state of shock, and I just couldn't quite believe that that's what I was seeing. TfL needs to really be cleaning the buses more, having better hygiene standards, and overall it's like a safety issue for people as well. People don't expect to travel on the buses and have travel amongst cockroaches.
There are 5 million journeys a day on London's buses, which are operated by private companies. The photos sent to us also show cockroaches under seats and around the doors. Drivers say it's a health risk. Transport for London say these instances are very rare and they have launched an urgent investigation. It also points out that buses are cleaned every day. But bus safety campaigners say this reflects the wider issue of working conditions for bus drivers. Campaigners say the situation at the moment is untenable.
I don't think TfL hold the companies accountable enough. There are issues, and each company's got its own set of rules and its own sort of foundations of how it does things. But TfL should set the standard and make sure that all operators stick to that standard. Then it will be, an overall system that everyone's working to.
It's not clear how widespread the cockroach issue is on London's buses, but commuters and drivers want urgent action to eradicate these infestations from the fleet. Tom Edwards, BBC London.
Now, as we've been hearing, it's been a momentous day for Israel and Gaza, one of emotion and relief. And the UK Prime Minister is joining other world leaders for a peace summit in Egypt. But closer to home, here in the capital, we're getting reaction by Londoners impacted by the conflict and their hopes for the future. We can join Assad now, who's at a restaurant in the West End. Assad.
Yeah, Riz, I'm at the Shakshuka Palestinian restaurant on the Marylebone Road. This is a real hub for Palestinian Londoners to come to, but also Jewish Londoners. In fact, in the time I've been here, there's been a group of young Jewish men who've come in to celebrate one of their birthdays. Currently, they're upstairs. They say they love it here. And there's real relief here and elsewhere around here at events in the Middle East today. In a moment, I'll be speaking to the owner of the restaurant. Before that, around the corner from here, not that far away on the Finchley Road, is the very popular JW3 Jewish Community Centre. They've been marking the release of the Israeli hostages today, and Wendy Hurrell has been to see how they're marking it and hear what they have to say.
Since early last year, over 5,000 padlocks have been attached to the bridge at JW3 in Finchley, northwest London. An installation to keep Jewish hostages in people's thoughts.
We're a community centre, and arts and culture is a big part of what we do as well. Normally when we put up an installation, we want it to be there as long as possible. This is one we didn't want to put up in the first place, and we wanted it to come down as soon as possible. But we always promised, and we promised the families that we spoke to, the day that the last living hostage is home, this entire thing comes down. So today, this whole thing comes down. The huge sign that announced the Lovelock Hostage Bridge comes down. And this goes back to being a bridge that people can walk over.
It's been an emotional few days for the Jewish community.
We've been watching these live feeds of them coming home and we've been breaking down in tears and calling each other and just seeing some of these hostages who we got to know and we got to feel like our family. And now they're back home with their parents and with their siblings and their grandparents back in their houses, not underground in tunnels, not being tortured, not being starved. That's what we've been praying for, that's what we've been hoping for, and it's happened. It's hard to believe.
And now there is hope for an end to the conflict.
We have been in pain for what happened to the Jewish people on October 7th, the murders, the acts of barbarity and terrorism, the hostages being taken, and we have grieved and been in pain for the loss of life. Many innocent lives have been lost in Gaza. We want the same thing. We want the war to be over. We want peace in the region, whatever that's going to look like. And that's still a long way off. A ceasefire is the start of it, but there was no way to have a proper ceasefire without the hostages coming home. And now they're home. We hope that means that the loss of life on both sides can come to an end, because it's just too much.
Wendy Hurrell, BBC London.
Yeah, whoever you speak to, they want an end to the loss of life and peace. I'm joined now by the restaurant, this very popular Palestinian restaurant. You are Palestinian born.
Very Palestinian.
Halim, how do you feel today?
Look, we are very relieved that the genocide stopped. I'm so relieved that innocent people dying. I'm so also happy. I'm over the moon that all this, almost 2,000 Palestinians went back to their mothers and their family. And I'm so happy for all the Israeli captors gone back to their family.
So you are happy for them as well?
Oh
just
my
the
God!
You're happy, the
I'm super happy. Even on that platform, I send congratulations to Enid Zonger, the woman who got her son Matan today, who she spoke to him when he was captured, and I'm happy for all of them. It's a humanitarian issue, it's not political issue.
Now, it's happened over 2,000 miles away. Have you been surprised at the level of feelings that's been shown here in London over the past 2 years, on both sides?
I'm not surprised. We are so delighted. All the people who supported Palestine, all the people who supported Gaza, and all the Jewish community who live in London, nobody happy about the genocide. Nobody happy about innocent people dying. We need to get on. We need hope. We don't need to be controlled by fear. We want to build Gaza and correct everything gone wrong.
Halim Khanallah, thanks very much for that. Well, let's speak to a restaurateur here now. Sir, I don't think you've got connections to either side. When we were speaking earlier, your feelings of the Middle East, just very briefly.
Yeah, I think it's very good for our city because hopefully there'll be less marches now. And there'll be less sectarian attacks. There'll be less hostility.
Do you think we can come together?
I don't know whether that can happen because what it has, it's exposed deep divisions, not only across London but across the country.
Well, let's see what happens. Well, that's just the thoughts from this Palestinian restaurateur. Certainly, lots of hope that people will come together now in the way that Londoners do. Back to you.
A significant day. Assad, thanks very much indeed. Next, a watchdog has promised to investigate and take action after undercover filming by BBC London found trusted medical professionals, including pharmacists, illegally supplying botox to beauticians for cash without assessing patients first. After we exposed several breaches, potentially risking safety, the General Pharmaceutical Council says it's now reviewing the BBC evidence. Guy Lynn reports.
We went undercover, posing as a beautician, trying to source botox for clients.
Hello!
Before prescribing botox, this community pharmacist must examine every patient. This was the reality.
You want some botox now?
If you can.
390. Thank you very much. Awesome. Botox in there?
Oh, thank you so much.
He handed it over for cash, no patient seen, and then told our researcher to lie, claiming an examination had taken place.
I did face-to-face consultation today.
Okay.
Right?
Yes.
And I just done it.
Of course.
Later he apologised, saying he meant no harm. Botox is safely used by millions each year to smooth wrinkles, but only doctors, dentists, prescribing nurses and pharmacists can prescribe it, and only after seeing a patient face to face. As used incorrectly, it can cause serious harm.
Headache, double vision, a lung can collapse, death. People have died from having Botox. It is that serious a drug.
Yet again and again we found qualified medical professionals, including nurses too, putting patients at risk by cutting corners around face-to-face consultations.
You're meant to do it later.
We can do it the other way.
What's the other way?
WhatsApp me.
I'll just WhatsApp you. Okay. So do you need to talk then?
Male dominated.
You should. Sorry, I didn't catch that. You should do me right.
Don't say nothing.
On social media, the reaction was immediate. Shock and anger across the UK.
So in this case, they named this nurse, this pharmacist, and this person who pretends to be a doctor who isn't.
Watching that film, it was horrific. And even in the film, the clinicians were admitting they knew they were doing wrong. And they were suggesting that people keep quiet about it, or they wouldn't mouth the words out loud because they knew it was wrong. But they went and did it anyway because there was money to be made. And it's just, it offends every part of my being that wants to be a good, honest, decent clinician.
The pharmacist regulator told BBC London it's reviewing our evidence and will investigate those involved.
The vast majority of our pharmacy professionals provide a very, very safe service. There are a few that, as we've seen in your programme, don't follow our standards, and it is incredibly disappointing, and we will need to take action.
The GPHC also said it's working with the government to potentially tighten the law around how Botox is prescribed and supplied. Both the pharmacists and nurses regulators say they're assessing the BBC's evidence and will update the public in due course. Guy Lynn, BBC London.
And a reminder, you can watch the full documentary, The Botox Black Market, on BBC iPlayer right now. Now to the women taking Meta, the company who own Facebook and Instagram, to task. Why? They say they're being bombarded with pregnancy ads on social media after they've had a miscarriage or stillbirth and shouldn't have to pay to have traumatic content removed. It's after the company recently announced an ad-free subscription service for UK users. Hayley Compton has been hearing from Catherine in Essex, who miscarried twins last year.
I'm celebrating sort of milestones with my husband, but I'm missing two people in my life. And I think you have this connection right from the start of your pregnancy, from when you first find out, and it just gets stronger and stronger as you go through your pregnancy. It's really difficult for people, I guess, to comprehend having that connection and then how suddenly you have lost your baby and your baby has passed away.
Before her babies died, Catherine was looking up all sorts of things online.
What to expect from a twin pregnancy, how to look after a baby, how to change a nappy, for instance. I was constantly online.
She found her social media feeds were littered with baby-related adverts. But when she lost her babies, she found it very difficult to stop them.
And I realised there's nothing that can stop these ads from targeting me right now, because I've done everything. I've done the keywords. I've said I'm not interested about 50 times on every single ad that's come up into my feed. And it just completely felt intrusive. It was just like a stab in the stomach again. Just what couldn't make that situation even worse was that it was horrific.
So why did Catherine find it so hard to change what she was seeing? Look at the top right of this advert. There's 3 dots, and if you click on it, you have these options. But there's a catch.
Many of these buttons don't do what they say they do. I think of them as placebo buttons, because they make you think that you're making something better, but they're really not making a difference.
Arturo is a former director of engineering at Meta, the company that owns Facebook and Instagram. He gave evidence in US Congress about how he feels the technology company isn't keeping their users safe.
They love saying that they care. They just care about getting more users on their platforms so that they can make more money, or they just don't seem to care about the harm they enable. So I think it's inexcusable. I think it's inhumane. They've had the technology to make these things better for 10, 15 years at least. It's just not a priority, and if it's not a priority, it doesn't get done.
Someone that wanted Meta to take notice and get something done was Catherine, who started this petition.
I need to make people aware that this is something that is very, very hurtful for grieving mothers.
Meta says we take these concerns seriously and continue to improve the sensitivity and accuracy of how ads are delivered. Hayley Compton, BBC London.
And our thanks to Catherine for sharing her story. If you or a loved one has been affected by stillbirth or baby loss, there is support and advice available in confidence. The BBC has put together a list of organisations who can help. Just search, as you can see there, BBC Action Line. Now, do you ever feel like you could intervene if you see a fellow passenger on the tube or bus being harassed or discriminated against? Well, Transport for London is providing what it calls active bystander training online to raise awareness about hate crime and how you can safely intervene. And as it says, act like a friend, as Jem O'Reilly explains.
I was once on a train and a couple said to me, "What is wrong with you?" And my answer to that question generally is nothing, because I'm a happy-go-lucky person, so nothing is wrong with me. And the response was, "No, we pay for you, so you should tell us what's wrong."
Adam is not alone. According to police data, hate crime in London rose by nearly 36% in 2024 to 2025, compared with the previous year. This has led TfL to launch active bystander training to allow people to safely intervene if they witness scenarios like Adam's. Hate crime is a form of discrimination against someone because of their disability, religion, race, or transgender or sexual orientation. And this year is focused on disability.
The first thing that one person can do is become a distraction during that incident. To do a simple thing like ask for the time, ask for where the next station is. That can do enough to break the cycle of behaviour that's happening.
The training involves being taught certain phrases to check if the victim is okay in hostile situations like this one.
It gives them simple tips to encourage them to intervene in a situation so that they support the person who's being victimised. Act like a friend, pretend that you know them, ask them a question, checking that they're okay.
For many people, nobody helping is the thing that they take away and that lives with them for a long time after, a feeling that everyone agreed with what that perpetrator did to me.
I would encourage people to be positive allies. So we need people to really support us, and maybe that's not getting involved directly. Maybe that's just, you know, catching eyes with the person and letting them know that you are there.
Gem O'Reilly, BBC London.
Let's take you to the Thames Estuary and Leigh-on-Sea now, where a Cockle family business has been operating for more than 50 years. But now, after the local licensing system changed, they failed to secure a licence and fear they could now potentially lose their business, with the rest of the industry also worried too, as Alex Dunlop explains.
The Sophie Jane hasn't left her moorings since June. Without a licence, her owner Steve Dell can't head out into the Thames Estuary to dredge for cockles, as did his father.
Absolutely devastated. I've been working in this industry since I was a young boy. The rest of the industry down here now are all terrified, because in 7 years' time they will have to go through the full licence application process just as we did. And they don't know what to put on the forms, because if this can happen to us, and I think I submitted a good application, if this can happen to us, it can happen to anybody.
The local fishermen are carrying on a 600 years old industry, raking for cockles on the sandbanks of the Thames Estuary.
Cockle fishing is woven into Leigh-on-Sea's culture. They used to sieve for them, now they use a suction dredge. Last year, the local licensing system changed, meaning that businesses had to apply for new licences from the Kent and Essex Fisheries and Conservation Authority, or IFCA. There used to be 14 licences, now there are 15, but it's complicated. Had Stephen Dell applied for a transitional 7-year one, he would almost certainly have got it. But instead, he opted to go for an open licence, which is commercially more valuable, and the selection process for that is more rigorous. Stephen Dell came in at 18, so he missed the cut. IFCA didn't want to comment on specific applications, but said that bidders had to prove they had a sustainable business plan, could secure local jobs, and would take meaningful steps to help protect the marine environment. Others should be allowed to enter the industry, shouldn't they?
I don't see why not.
But the argument is they made a better case.
Well, I'd like to know what their case was.
Meanwhile, Steve's skipper, Angus, is now also without a job. Morale on the quayside, he says, is low.
You know, you're watching everyone go out every day and you're thinking, we should be out there. We should be out there with them. He's done the processing, cockling, he's done the employee sort of thing. You know, he's had all his cousins working for him, he's had a family industry, and now he's got, you know, he's left with nothing now, literally nothing.
Steve says his fellow cockle fishermen are nervous now that they could be next. They say they'll take their fight to Parliament. Alex Dunlop, BBC London in Leigh-on-Sea.
Now, if you've ever felt like screaming to let off steam, don't worry, I won't do it. You'll want to see this. What started off as a bit of a joke on social media last week started gaining traction. And before long, a scream club was being held on Friday on Primrose Hill. Here's the organiser, Mona, telling us more.
A scream club is a group of people coming together to just scream. Kind of like in a group therapy way. From the group chat that I created only 2-3 days ago, where 1,000 people have joined, a lot of people have shared into that group chat how they're feeling, what they're expressing and why they want to come out and have a big screech.
I actually got fired from my job last week. This is just a great place just to scream it all out.
I had an exam today and I'm pretty sure I flopped it, so just came here to relieve all my stress.
You don't want to scare people, you don't want to be weird, but who cares? Everyone who isn't participating must be thinking, these are a bunch of weirdos.
I heard all this screaming, I thought, what's going on? When I was a youngster, we used to get under railway bridges and trains used to go over, and we'd scream as loud as we could as the train came over. So it's something that's been around a long time.
From this experience as a whole, I'm kind of hoping it's going to facilitate conversations afterwards to kind of patch up that loneliness crisis that we're kind of having in the city.
Scream Club. If you haven't heard of it, you have now. OK, let's see how this week is shaping up weather-wise. Kate is the person to tell us. Hello there. Well, it looks gorgeous behind you.
Well, colour-wise, yes, but the sky, not so much. It is quite a dull week, I'm afraid to say, but it's nice and quiet. It's nice and settled. There's not a huge amount for me to talk about today. We have got high pressure. It is in charge, but as we've seen today, it doesn't mean wall-to-wall sunshine. You can see coming around the outside, thick cloud. Now, it has been largely dry, although 1 or 2 spots of rain were around today, barely noticeable, but this was the scene, just grey everywhere. Small little glimpses of something brighter. We did have a few cracks in the cloud. You can see a little bit of blue bursting out there, but on the whole, it has been cloudy, and it's going to stay cloudy as well. Through tonight, you can see coming in from the east, we've still got the cloud, maybe 1 or 2 breaks in it. If we do get some breaks in the cloud, we're likely to see a bit of mist developing. Minimum temperature staying quite mild, 10 to 12 Celsius. So as we head into tomorrow morning, any mist will lift. We've got some cloud still. It's not going anywhere very quickly. Again, we could get maybe 1 or 2 spots of rain in the cloud, but through the afternoon, especially in the east, we might just see a few more holes in the cloud, so something maybe a little bit brighter through the afternoon. Temperatures tomorrow, very similar, if not the same, around 16 Celsius the maximum. Now, the high pressure is going to stay. It's not going anywhere. It's centred across the UK. And overnight Tuesday into Wednesday, we've still got that feed of cloud coming in and nothing really changes. The wind is still light. It's still going to be largely grey. A few brighter spells, still largely dry. And temperatures on Wednesday, very similar, around 14 or 15 Celsius. Now, the high pressure just starts to change shape as we head into Thursday and through Friday, but it's still managing to block anything coming in from the Atlantic. So again, we're going to hang on to these same conditions. Rather cloudy, but you can see right the way through to Friday, we are staying grey and dry. The weekend, a bit more sunshine perhaps for Saturday, but Sunday at the moment is looking likely to turn unsettled, wet and windy. Riz.
OK, it's never grey when you're around, Kate. Thank you. And that is where we leave you. More stories on our website, including the Londoner who's believed to have become the longest living patient in the UK to have had a combined heart and lung transplant. And also, in case you missed it, the North London allotment that's won the UK's top of the plots. I tell you, it really is worth a look. From all of us here, thanks for watching and do have a lovely evening. Bye-bye.
Can you tell me how many thousands of boxes of illegal botox you've supplied?
I don't know. You want some botox now?
It is safe, isn't it?
As long as they don't open their mouth.
So you don't waste time talking to the person?
I don't want to talk.
I get resuscitated. I'm dying here.
There is criminal activity rife within this sector. This has to be exposed.